Hello everyone. Since I'm taking a day off of raiding, I decided to make a video that's basically a tour of my base's chests. In part because this might help you when you're raiding to determine where people like to put stuff. Everybody does it a little differently. This is how I have everything laid out, so this might help you. And if not, well, you at least get to see where all my stuff is. So this, I have every chest that's possible, and I have every small box that's possible, although a lot of my small boxes are just being used for base defense inside the walls. I only have 5 trunks currently, and I don't have any military boxes. But so starting up here, this is kind of my temp chest up here. It's often, I put event items in it. This is where I kind of spawn into my base, so if I'm in a hurry and I need to dump stuff off to race to a chopper event, I just throw it in there and come back later. And then along the perimeter here, I got a few gas masks in there. Obviously I don't go in that room very often. Little aluminum wire, that's why I don't mind giving aluminum to the raiders any chance I get. Some random junk, basically. More. Hopefully I'll get to use it soon. On that radio tower, some more stuff. I actually had another fork and a chopper tank that I was leaving in the truck for other raiders, and apparently they can raid the truck now, so I don't no longer have that. Not that it affects me at the moment. So all my paint patterns and my paints, alcohol. And then all these next chests are mostly just items for the dealer and hopefully for some future use. The cameras are kind of like the hardest ones of those to find. And I keep most of my gun parts in here. And more dealer stuff and the air filters. And I have some trash here that, why not? Okay, so up here, this is where I keep more aluminum. I also use this as a temp chest for my gun bench over here. When I get guns I want to throw in there. I have even more chests in there. Okay, so my wire, fragments, bolts, all that kind of stuff I keep right here. So these 3 chests I kind of have like my fabric kind of things in here. So that kind of stuff, and that kind of stuff. So so these black chests and these red chests are my weapons and armor. The black ones are pretty simple. I just keep my, shoes, pants, tops, and hats in these. And I just, these are the chests I use the most frequently for getting geared up for whatever I'm doing. These first 2 chests, I keep mostly my guns and melee weapons that I use more commonly. This is my kind of my weaker stuff, and that kind of stuff. Those things sometimes they're overfilling, and sometimes I barely have any. It just depends on what's going on. And so over here, I keep this is where most of the action goes on over here with these workbenches. In here I keep my wood. I'm actually kind of overflowing on oak at the moment. I have everything upgraded for the most part that I am in a hurry to upgrade, and so the rest of that's just kind of sitting there waiting for some other use. I keep my stone in here. I keep my this kind of stuff, the unrefined things in here, and extra coal, and my iron in there. Over here on the top, I am very low on food at the moment. Oftentimes this thing's really full, but just depending on what's going on, I'm often like really full on stuff or completely wiped out. So my liquids in there and my healing stuff in here. So that's everything inside of the main outer area. Inside here, this is obviously my goal is to wrap this room in metal, and so obviously I keep my best stuff in here. I found a snorkel mask on a raid. I often keep at least this much steel on hand. I don't like to use more than that. I've only got 2 circuits. I need the other 3 for the acid bath. And the 7 Z cards I got from 2 different raids, along with the chopper patterns right there. Okay, so this is my my best guns are right here, and then this is kind of one of my rating chests, sort of. I keep my C4. I keep all my silenced guns in here. Most of those yellow tickets I got from a raid. And this is where I keep my guns that are at least blue on the condition. So I use those all the time, but these just happen to be ones that I want to try to get gun oil eventually and modify. Tape, gas, just some random stuff. I try to keep on hand some higher quality armor. And obviously I got that Chinese armor. I wasn't able to get the boots or the helmet. But and then the connecting rods unfortunately take up so much space, but who knows when I'll desperately need them for the next thing you got to build. And this one I just keep some extra aluminum on hand and my saw blade maces. And I also use this as another event temporary holding spot. So that's all this stuff. Out here in my garden, I've got these 3, and this one I like to throw axes in, and I use this as a temporary chest for raiding, just to get ready. This is just kind of for food, and then I often use this one to store extra coal or whatever if I'm getting kind of overflowing on it. I currently have 3 turrets, so I mean that's basically it for the chests. I have all these small boxes along the perimeter, and I am starting to fill these up. I've actually got about 5 of these, I think, that are starting to be filled up with just extra stuff, extra stone, extra wood, things that I'm having trouble fitting in my base. So that's a nice way for me to get rid of them for the time being without actually losing them. You never know, and suddenly you're going to be blowing through stone left and right on some new project. But yeah, I got these 2 new turrets, and my 3rd one is up here. And I kind of made a little video on these before, but basically the turrets are useless at the moment. They're still a priority for me to build, but their main downside is their range is just awful. I don't know why this isn't working. There it is. So if you can see the range, it's just really, it's like less than 2 full spaces in front, and that's pretty awful. In addition to that, I mean, the main reason why they're terrible is that they use way too much gas. I mean, to run 4 turrets at the same time is like 80 cans a day, and that's just awful. So nobody's going to be able to use them. The turrets, I think, are most effective if you have a base that has a bunch of smaller rooms, kind of like 2 by 2 rooms. If your base looks something like that, then it's effective. Someone will break into a wall and they won't be able to get into the room easily without getting shot up. So I'll still end up using them eventually. Hopefully, as I upgrade them to level 2, the range will increase along with that, but that's going to be a while since they require circuits, and circuits are super hard to get. So that's on the back burner, but in the meantime, I'll build all 4, and I'll just keep collecting the parts to upgrade them. And the only other thing I can really kind of show off here since my last base update video is I did add this 3rd layer of wall around my base just out of level 1, and that is extremely effective against raiders. They never get in to break any of my stone walls, so I don't have to spend any extra resources repairing all the time, and it's pretty easy to repair level 1 walls. So and then this is kind of a little side project I have going on here. I'm kind of inspired by looking at some people's bases that I've raided. So I've decided to build a little zombie prison, which I'll be upgrading and monkeying around with in the near future. But in the meantime, I kind of like run them in here. When they get through, I walk out, and then I build a wall. I switch over and add a wall and block them in, and then I'm going to get them all loaded up in there. So just for fun, I don't know if this is actually going to ever amount to anything, but just for fun, I figured every time a zombie wandered onto my base, I'd go ahead and throw them in there. And I might get quite a collection. And unfortunately, I can't do it with the crowd zombies because they'll just die or break down the walls. So, and then the chests out here are just kind of my freebie chests for the raiders, because I was always under the impression that they need to actually steal something for you to get a revenge raid. So I just put whatever in here. And yeah, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed. All right, bye.